The sounds of the tree frogs are back tonight, folks. It's been a long time since I've had the old candle going and my choir of tree frogs around me. And yes, indeed, my friends, the tree frogs are indeed back. The tree frogs have returned. Tonight is not going to be a fun night. Tonight is going to be a brutal night. Tonight is going to be a night full of me saying truths that people don't want to hear. Tonight is going to be full of me explaining to you stuff that should be ridiculously apparent, but is continuously not apparent. First things first, my name's Steve Grumbine. I'm the founder of Real Progressives. My mission is to bring economic truth to America and to get the activist community aware and awake so that it can make moves that have never been seen before in the history of the United States. Going back to FDR would be jealous of the work that I'd like to see us as progressive activists pull off in the United States, folks, and quite frankly around the world. I'm not here to play games. I'm not here to make friends. I'm not here to make you feel good. I am only here to tell you the truth about the economics that drive our nation and drive the policies that we claim to support, and to give you the tools to make shit happen. Now, for those of you who don't know this story and don't know who I am Steve Grumbine. I'm a former Republican. I'm a former libertarian, and I am now, and for years have been, a progressive, outside the duopoly, fighting for economic truth. I am not somebody that is going to play around. I do not give two shits what the Democratic establishment says. I don't care what your alternative media friends say, the people that you follow around, that you listen to. Most of them don't know their ass from their elbow about economics, and that is a crime for our movement. To have so few of them have any idea how to make any of the fucking things we need to get done, how few of them actually have a clue. And my friends, that is the critical problem we have. That is the critical problem that we have. There will be no progress without understanding economics. Now, you have a bunch of people that have been wrapped up in the religion of the left. They have been wrapped up in the religion of the left wing, the predominant old left, as Ellis would say, the narrative that speaks directly to taxing and spending. They have been sidelined for years. They have gotten nothing accomplished at all. They have sat there and they have led you by the nose with your fist in the air, marching right into a right-wing snare, and you have gotten absolutely jack shit for it. You have gotten nothing for it at all. Not one thing have you gotten for it. You have been the loneliest of people trying to find a way through the forest of bullshit, because the left has been completely and utterly ineffective and, quite frankly, non-existent in the United States of America. There is no left wing in the United States of America. And that is a troubling truth that you need to get your arms wrapped around. The Green Party, as nice as they are and as much as I love most of the people in there, they are steeped in 1970s old liberal politics. They are steeped in the tax and spend mindset. They still believe you got a fucking tax to spend. They still say the same stupid shit that got us all in deep shit. They still say the same stuff that never gets through. And my question to the Green Party will always be, do you want to tear the system down? Or do you want a Green New Deal? You take your pick, but you can't have both. And I can't wait for you to tear the system down and rebuild it in your own image. I want a Green New Deal now. I'm not interested in seizing the means of, production. I'm not interested in all the other things that you put in front of saving lives. I'm here to tell you how to make your platform happen. A Green New Deal does not happen taxing to spend. You cannot tax enough money to get single-payer health care, to get green energy. You cannot tax enough to have student debt relief, and you cannot tax enough to have free college for all, and you cannot tax enough to have a federal job guarantee. Do the fucking math. Do the fucking math. I'm not joking. This is a critical thing for the left. The people that want to claim to be left, let me clue you in. You're smoking fairy dust if you think that taxing and spending is the way in a monetarily sovereign nation to get a left-wing agenda through. You are smoking fairy dust and unicorn farts if you think for a minute that you are going to be taxing and spending. You do not get that luxury in a monetarily sovereign nation. I want a Green New Deal more than the purveyors of the anti-Israel movement want it. I want a Green New Deal more than the Federal Reserve conspiracy theorists want it. I want a Green New Deal more than the friggin' we gotta have Marx or we all die people want it. Do you understand me? We have a pluralistic society, and this is the thing that the left needs to understand. We are still equivocating. We're still using the economics of the oppressors. The capitalists, the ones that you supposedly hate. We're still using the same lies that Milton Friedman taught to define economic reality. We're still lying about the fact that we as a nation create our own money. We still lie and say that the Federal Reserve is owned by the Rothschilds and all this other shit, when the reality is that Congress wrote the Federal Reserve into existence. The Board of Governors, the ones that run it, are directly appointed. They are a branch of the fucking government. And yet we still suffer the fools that do the fucking anti-Jews, the Jews, the Jews. Sick, sick, sick. Now, if you have everything in the world, think about this for a minute. If you have everything in the world, you have all the money in the world that you need, and more, you have trillions, you have billions of dollars, whatever. What is the one thing that you desperately want? You want to be a god. You want to be worshipped. You want to be revered and needed. And what does the left in this nation do to the rich? They say, we need your tax dollars, Mr. Rich Man, to win. You are a god. You have everything. We've deified you. Oh, please, rich people, give us your tax dollars. And then bottom line, nothing gets done. Over and over and fucking over again. The same goddamn fucking stupid lines happen. And people suffer. And the world gets worse and the bombs keep falling. You have gotten nothing from them because the rich only exist now to be adulated. That's it. Our nation is monetarily sovereign. We alone can take back our government and say, spend on the 99% now. Spend on the 99% now. But instead, we still think that we've got to chase and pick dollars off rich people to pay for fucking universal health care. We still worthlessly believe that we've got to take dollars off of rich people to get green energy investments. We fail to embrace the truth, and we allow them to tell us that the nation is broke. Hold on, let's see who this asshole is. There's somebody out there that I swear to God. Screw it. There's always going to be a troll. Let's just go ahead and ignore the trolls. I'm going to scoot the comments away, folks. So forgive me. I'm not paying attention to trolls right now. I know what the fuck I'm talking about. When you look at our nation and you listen to the GOP, who is actively telling you that we've got to balance the budget, they're actively trying to get a constitutional convention to balance the budget. Ben Carson, like many of the shit fucks in our movement, thinks that the greatest fear in our nation should be the federal debt. A bunch of savings accounts that the Fed sells these things out called treasury bonds, not to fund government, but so that they can defend a positive interest rate that translates into, get this, a basic income for the wealthy. That's it. And while they starve the 99%, you and I, we end up deep in private debt. We end up deep in private debt. And we believe the government needs to tighten its belt. Just like Greece, right? Tighten our belts. We don't have the money. How the fuck don't we have the money? We keystroke that shit into existence. How the fuck is somebody going to get away with saying that we don't have the money? How in the world could somebody be so worthless to say we can't afford universal health care, a federal job guarantee, expanded Social Security, investing heavily in complete conversion to green energy? I mean, we should be able to feed every friggin' child in America. There should be no homeless because we can keystroke this shit and we would have an economic boom in this country. People say there's not enough work. Have you seen how many people are laying in the streets right now because they don't have homes and they don't have fucking food and they don't have health care and they don't have fucking education? And you're going to tell me we're almost out of jobs? Are you dumb as a motherfucking box of rocks? How many levees in America need to break? And how many fucking New Orleans do we need to have? How many people need to die in squalor while idiots say that we're out of jobs? The hell we are. Stupid. Worthless. People are fucking dying. That's no joke. People are fucking dying today, right now, without health care, without shelter, and without food. And it's not just in the United States. It's around the fucking globe, because this scourge brought on by Milton Friedman and the monetarists and the quantity theory of money people. And what are you going to do? Get inflation? What are you going to do? Just print more money? Those people are economic terrorists, domestic terrorists, lethal to the poor. They have the blood of more people than you will ever know on their hands, and they skate on through because they got away with doing it by voting for someone. We are not talking about good people, folks. We are talking about people that willfully let people die. That willfully let people die. Then people say, well, what is this modern monetary theory? It's just a theory, right? Do you know what a fucking theory is? You scientific whiz-bang, you? Do you know what a theory is? It's a scientifically proven, repeatable thing that has been shown to be true. But it's not quite at a law because there is more studying to be done to expand the school of thought. But what is known to be true is no longer a hypothesis. It's a hypothesis that has been tested and is now a motherfucking theory. Ah, but it's just a theory. Smack! How many people have to die for you to get your little sauntering in saying stupid shit like that? This is no joke. It is time to treat people like economic terrorists. Domestic terrorists. They should be on a watch list. Those who espouse idiocy, cutting deficits and cutting spending at the federal level. Those people should be on a death watch, because I'm telling you right now, more people die from austerity around the world, like Grenfell Towers. Another victory of austerity. Pushing away the public purpose to private entities because we trust capitalism more than we trust our federal government to serve the people. Why is that? Because the people still think the guy that creates the fucking money is constrained like a household budget. Why is that? Why would someone believe that the maker of the dollar is constrained like a household budget? Is it lack of education? Is it willful ignorance? Is it a hate for humanity? A public deficit is a private surplus by accounting identity. Think it through. Taxes, when they are received by the federal government, are not spent back into existence and redistributed. They are deleted upon receipt. You send your piece of paper in, the IRS receives it, they send instructions, they delete reserves from the account, your taxes are erased, they're gone. That digital dollar didn't recycle all the way through the system and come out the other end a brand new dollar. No. Dollars come into existence when Congress writes a bill and spends them into existence. Dollars are deleted and killed when dollars are taxed. Why is that? Because a dollar, which is a state currency, is nothing more than a tax credit, an IOU. And once that dollar is spent, it's got to do its life cycle, which goes back to tax. And it dies upon receipt. This is the straight dope. And then the morons say, but if it's not tied to a commodity, then it's worthless, isn't it? We've got to dig our money out of the ground for it to be worth something. Stupid. Taxes give our dollar its value. You don't pay your taxes in Bitcoin. You don't pay your taxes in diamonds. You can't bring yourself some petrodollars to pay your taxes. You pay your taxes in US dollars. You could bring a barrel of gold and they'd laugh you out of the building. They might take it, but they wouldn't be paying your taxes. Your taxes must be paid in US dollars. That's the God's honest truth. But your taxes aren't used to spend. Your taxes are merely the thing, that the tool of the government to keep us using the dollar and to keep the economy going and the engine going and the engine going and the engine going. Because taxes actually create unemployed people. Not in the sense that you're thinking. They were originally created because people had no need for a piece of paper back in the day. They had no need for a gold coin. Even with Caesar's face on it, they had no need for a gold coin. You had hut taxes. They put a tax on your hut. And all of a sudden you had to have something to pay your tax with. And guess what it was? It was a token. The token. The government didn't need an income. It used these tokens to get you off your ass to do what the government wanted you to do. To go build a road, to go build a bridge. These are the things that taxes do. They drive currency. You have to have dollars to pay your taxes. If you own a home, you'll pay a tax. You got to have dollars to pay the tax, so you got to have an income in order to do that. Whether it be interest income, whether it be working income, whether it be Social Security, whatever. You got to have an income to pay your tax. That's how this machine works. It's got nothing to do with the value of gold. It's got nothing to do with the petrodollar. Nothing. Now, let me tell you what petro does have to do with. Gasoline, all oil-based products, all the other stuff. What is it? It's a natural resource. And our spending is constrained only by our ability to have resources, both labor and natural resources, to achieve whatever it is we seek to achieve. You get inflation not from too many dollars. So all the morons that say, well, what about Weimar Republic in Venezuela and Zimbabwe? Give them the one-finger salute and tell them to learn some economics. It's about not having enough resources to fill demand. If you don't have enough loaves of bread, but everybody wants a loaf of bread, you get inflation, because now you got a competition to get that loaf of bread. It's scarce. There's only that one loaf of bread there. Everybody's beaten in there. All of a sudden, it's a $100 loaf of bread. It's not because you've got too many dollars in the world. It's not because of that. It is only because you've got a scarcity. So if we had, for example, single-payer health care, guess what might happen for a short time until we get enough nurses, until we get enough doctors, until we get enough gurneys, until we get enough hospitals, until we get enough x-ray machines. Oh, that's right. We might get a little inflation on that one specific area. But guess what? Did you hear what I just said? We've got to get more nurses. We've got to get more doctors. We've got to get more gurneys. We got to get more x-rays. We got to get more fucking hospitals. So what do we have there? An economic boom. That's not capitalism. That's state getting us single-payer health care. Not insurance money. We're talking about universal health care. And you know what? We already pay enough in taxes right now to drive currency. We don't need to raise taxes because taxes don't pay for things. So it's not like you got to suddenly raise taxes $10,000 to buy fucking health insurance. Do you see what I'm saying? Does this ring a bell? Does this make sense? Now, let's get to the almighty most important thing. Income inequality. People say MMT doesn't address income inequality. Well, guess what? It absolutely does. It uses what we call a federal job guarantee. Not a UBI, Universal Basic Income. A federal job guarantee that is a voluntary program that is administered locally. Like Jill Stein and the Green Party said, they came out and said they wanted to have an employment office in every community. Not an unemployment office, an employment office. Well, guess how those things could be funded? Federal job guarantee through the feds, right? Yeah, Congress. And then let the local communities determine what they value. This is not make work. This is not working for the man. This is not any of that other gibberish you hear from people. Oh, this is Calvinism. Wrong, snapperhead. This is about your local community determining what its needs are. Because think about how many things your kids have been robbed of over the last 40 years. As they've stripped away gym class, as they've stripped away clarinet class, as they've stripped away the arts, and they've stripped away apprenticeships, and they've stripped away everything, all in the name of chasing the almighty fucking dollar that the government can create to make it happen for the 99%. Now, why in the world would one progressive, sign on to conservative bullshit that talks about debt and deficits? This is the problem in the progressive community. People wonder why we don't talk about Trump that much. Let me explain why. Until we get our unification in the progressive movement, in the fake left, and turn it into a real left, based on actual actionable shit, not conspiracy bullshit, but actual actionable stuff that you can go take over your local congressman's office. You can go block a street. You can go to a town hall. You can go write letters, do whatever it is. You can obstruct. You can be very, 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 very awesome at civil disobedience. You can do whatever it takes to get them to understand that we're done taking the bullshit. But it requires more than just people going, well, didn't Bernie say we got to reduce the deficit? Well, Bernie said it. So that's got to be the way it is, because I don't know how to do economics, and Bernie said it. That shit pisses me off. Bernie gave us the torch. He passed it on. But Bernie is not Jesus Christ. He's not Muhammad. He's not a god. He's a dude. A good dude, but a dude nonetheless. It is very, very, very important, my friends, that we realize that the power of Congress, Article 1, Section 8, gives them the ability to create money. And they've put that trust, that work, they've co-signed, they've brought into existence a central bank to stabilize the currency across the board. But the Federal Reserve, 1913, private bank, creature from Jekyll Island stuff. Rothschilds! Guys, it's time to take the training wheels off. Stop allowing non-econ people to tell you econ stories. Tell them to take the cotton out of their ears and put it into their mouths and listen. There is a season for teaching and there's a season for being a student. And the conspiracy theorists need to become students. And they need to become students quick, because our lives depend on this. This is no joke. It's time for us to embrace this. Now, I'm watching our movement, the people in the movement, the people that are progressives, that claim to be progressives. And they are worse. Friends, they are worse than Hillbots. They're worse than teabaggers. And they're worse than Trumpers when it comes to actually learning economics. How bad is that? Folks, I'm not joking. I have more success making a teabagger understand this than many progressives, and that is not acceptable. Our movement has to get smarter than that, or we will fail. We're going to fail mightily if we don't embrace this. And then the next thing. But what about election reform, Steve? We can't do any of this stuff if we can't have election reform. Horse shit. You take to the streets, you start occupying congressmen's offices, you start occupying their town halls, you start occupying things that are very inconvenient for people to deal with, and you watch how quickly people start noticing. You watch how quickly the pressure ratchets up. If you want to continue to march in place, pumping your knees and arms feverishly while you stand in place saying how badly you want single-payer health care, while you talk about how badly you want to eradicate that $1.2 trillion student debt noose hanging around people's necks, while you pump your fist feverishly in place and get nowhere, talking about green energy, there is a solution right under your flipping nose. It is time. It is high time to cast aside the conspiracy bullshit and start focusing on winning. Hashtag always winning. MMT is the great equalizer. It is the cure for neoliberalism. And have you ever seen how many buffoons, fools, sit there and say they're against neoliberalism, but yet champion the very economics of neoliberalism? We should almost make people pass through a lie detector test. Are you for neoliberalism or against it? I'm against it. Do you think taxes fund spending? Yes. Wrong. Wrong answer. Do you think we should reduce the deficit? Yes. Wrong answer. It is up to us, not Congress anymore, not the TV, not the media. It's up to us to act like we mean it, to really mean it, and stop worrying about fucking chasing personality bullshit. Stop worrying about chasing little bullshit games about who said what and what said who. Stay focused. Straight line. Straight line to victory. You want to put your fist in the air and mean it? Put it in the air for something actionable. Stop trying to get us 200 years down the road when we haven't even gotten through what we need to get through to get basic health care as a right in America. No, friends, modern monetary theory is not something that needs to be implemented. It's here now. You've just been told a fairy tale for so long that you don't even realize the truth right under your fucking nose. Modern monetary theory is not a theory per se. It is a description of how it is, debunking all the bullshit lies that neoliberalism has drilled into your brain. This is the antidote. This is the pill that gets rid of the gaslighting. When you hear a debate and you hear them talking back and forth about how you're going to pay for it, you know the answer every time, friends. Say it with me now. How are you going to pay for it? With Congress. Congress will write a bill and they will pass it. And how do we know that? Because if those 535 motherfuckers don't listen to us, we will occupy their lives. We will occupy every space that they inhabit. We will never get out of their face. We will be up in their grill demanding that they do this. If not, if you're not willing to do that, if you're not willing to be serious, then check out, because there's no hope. There's no hope. There's no hope if you're not willing to do what you've got to do. The tools are there, my friends. The tools are there. Yes, we should fix the elections. Yes, we should fix voting. Yes, we should do a lot of things. But people are dying today. And people are checking out like they're just gone. They don't even pay attention. How many people have to die for that? How many people have to die? How many is enough for you to finally wake up? Do you have to fucking let hundreds die, thousands die, millions die? How many have to die for you to care? I told you before, I'm not here to make friends. And I'm not here to tell you a story that'll make you feel good. But I am giving you hope. If you understand what I'm saying, if you understand the truth, that we are a monetarily sovereign nation, that we have a sovereign, free-floating, non-convertible fiat currency that is not tied to the gold standard. It is not tied to the petro standard. It's not tied to anything but the tax standard. Once you understand that, you know that we as a nation can afford anything we have the political will to stand up for. I'm Steve Grumbine with Real Progressives. Have a great night, everybody.